no will dare keep silent to the rule of life they enjoin. Right thought, right thinking, right action, and right speech. Those words, those occult words of truth, can be found in a syncretic fashion throughout some forms of religion. So for example, that can be found, I've done this before, I spoke about it, I think it might have been a couple of years ago now. It can be found within the Eightfold Path, with the Buddha Eightfold Path, right? Yeah. And the right, yeah. Now, big reason for that, as a part of what I'm going to be speaking about here today in terms of frequency. Now, in the last video that I did, I touched on the teachings that I had from Druids at the age of 17, and I was saying that all things are preset and predetermined in matter. Yeah, when one has entered onto the physical plane in order to complete a mission, a path of initiation, and that path of initiation is actually life itself. Yeah. And when I say by that path of initiation being life itself, because it is upon that path of life, yeah, that the mission is either completed, yeah, or the mission can be completed. If the mission is failed, yeah, then what happens is you become trapped and become bound by the matter planes, which is what we're going to speak about today. So what I was talking about Druids was I was taught how to drain energy from other beings, from other men and women, humans, beings, right? And you draw that energy from them. I was taught how to draw that energy from them in a bar, actually. It's called a moot meeting, it's a pagan moot meeting, right? So the being, like many of yourselves, would have already been active in terms of imagination and stuff like that, yeah? I had interactions on astral planes with witches and everything as a child, but I was taught how to draw energy from others, yeah? So when you will have experienced this, and I was taught that when a being might be stood somewhere, that this happened to be in a bar, and the Druid was saying to me that, you see that person over there, if I stare at that individual, if I stare at them, yeah, then what happens is I'm able to draw energy from them. How do you know that that is the case? You know that it's the case because if you stare at an individual whilst they are unaware, then they will eventually look towards where the electromagnetic gaze is coming from, which is you. You might have been sat in a car before and you're looking at them, and then they notice you look at them and then you look away. And the reason that was happening is because you were unknowingly drawing energy from them. And they were subconsciously became aware that was happening. How was that happen? How did they become aware of that? They become aware of it through the sixth sense, which is interoception. Interoception, yeah. So the frequency of thought has a frequency. The frequency of taste, touch, smell, these are all in alignment with frequency, yeah. What this means is we can become clairvoyant, we can activate our clairvoyant skill in our lower region of our solar plexus, by our spleen, yeah, by working with frequency as we continue, yeah. You'll have heard much about with frequency, yeah, right. So I'm just going to play a little video now about frequency in water. So the disturbance of that water looks like a bit like when we used to have these old scrying screens called TV screens, and when there was nothing on the screen, you'd think there was nothing happening. It was just fuzzy going on, but there was a movement, which means therefore there was something still happening. Frequency was still happening. And on those TV screens, those screens, you could end up staring at them. I remember thinking, you could end up looking at the screen because there was no aerial in the back of it, so it would just be this fuzziness. But that was a frequency. This is frequency. Now to us, it looks like just like nothing. So what you've seen there was what happens at 432 hertz and the 440 hertz. Yep. The 440 hertz, I think it's in the F key, it's synonymous with the 741, which I'll put on the screen. The 741 is called the devil's tone, yeah, because it's connected to the 440 hertz, which is the beat that they play with this frequency, which disrupts the water within the vessel, yeah. But the water holds the perfection of holds the geometry of perfection within it, yeah. So the water can has vortices in it, vortexes and vortices. This allows magnetic fields to be able to repel and perturbate energy within that water, yeah, right, yeah. So therefore what actually happens is that we are then able to operate upon different frequencies, yeah, which affect the water within our vessel, right, yeah. So when we operate on the higher frequencies, yeah, higher frequencies of thought, it means that then I can look at an individual just through their Facebook profile or whatever it is, and I can pick up some of the things that might be happening with that individual in terms of their mental state or their physical state, what you call their health, their body state, yeah. All of these sort of things can be picked up. And the reason for that is because now we're operating on a different frequency. So this frequency band now is heading towards a longitudinal because the waves are shorter, moving much faster. So it means that we're able to intake and obtain more light, more knowledge from in any situation. Yeah. When we then interact with the lower frequency, we can recognize it for what it is much quicker. Much quicker. Plasma and water, right? This science is new even in the material science world because they refuse to right in the atmosphere, yeah, is you. So you are a micro of Sophia, which is the volume in this magnetic field, right, and this dielectric plane, the volume of it. And this is what I'm going to do actually. Just give me 1 second. The volume, right? And I did a video before, and I'm going to do it about the cosmology of the Earth. I did it before. I did a video of it not long ago before. It's quite a good video. I was set to do a part 2 about on it anyway. I was talking about the disc, right? And the Mithras used to talk about a disc as well, right? So what's actually happening is this field, yeah. This is a. You see, what they do is they give it you to in kids' toys. This is what I was saying about that video. And in that video, I was showing with the disc, and I was showing, I'll put it on the screen, that toy that you probably would have played with, or your children played with when they was little, right? But really, yeah, the Brahma's discs, right? And what they're telling you is about the different planes of being that there are, yeah, inside, yeah, right, of what we are calling us, what they tell you is our solar system, right? But these are all the different planes, that exist, yeah, the matter planes, right, that exist within inside of this toroidal field, right? So the dielectric plane that exists within the middle of this field, they even put a little thing in the middle there, look, to show you where you are, but they do it to your children, yeah, because this is subconscious, and it even has blue, and this symbolizes red on the bottom here. So the loss of this dielectric plane, yeah, creates is this magnetic field. So this dielectric plane, so if we was looking at Egyptian cosmology, then this dielectric plane would be called Geb, and then then we would have then the loss of Geb creates Nut, yeah, which we spoke about loads before. Nut, UT, waters, right? Creates Nut, yeah, which is this force in motion of this toroidal field, like which you can see here, and it's even got all of the colours of the spectrum, which are what we call the meridian colours. Look, every one of them there, pretty much, right? Even there's the purple, look, there's the purple. Now, even if somebody wasn't deliberately doing this, it would be happening within the subconscious, and it would be passed onto the child as it's before it can even speak. But at the same time, then on the screen, they would then manipulate this and then present this just as this globe like this, right? Yeah. So inside of here, and this earth plane here, would be the field that we're in, yeah, within, surrounding that dielectric plane, the loss of that plane, which is the magnetic field, and then it has this force vector, which is like it's force outwards, poof, like that, which we've done before, and they go at 45 degrees, bam, 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 45 degrees, and then that's what gives you your X, which gives you your sex, which gives you your 6. Which is the interaction of the masculine and the feminine, right? That then, right? Which we can create a hex, which is a hexad, which we're going to look at, right? So inside of this field, then, yeah, is this motion and this water, yeah, and life, and the building blocks of that life are these amino acids. These amino acids, which I'm going to show you something now. These amino acids, yeah, are the building block of urine, because the urine and urea are intertwined and interconnected with the arginine, which is an amino acid. Yeah, so that is how things work. The amino acids break down into an ammonia, right? They break down and then becomes a urea, right? Now, through plasma science, through the plasma science that I do, yeah, and now when things are starting to settle down, because I'm building, renovating this house, and then once that is a little bit more further down the line, they're going to start doing the practicals of how to create the magnetic fields to capture the fields in the atmosphere. So what actually happens, yeah, is that within this atmosphere here is atmospheric amino acids, because they are generating life, right? Those amino acids intertwine and work with plasma, and this finding now, which is but they don't tell you about it, is that they're able to sterilize and remove a lot of any toxic waste and toxic materials can be done by the interaction of the amino acids when they oxidize them, yeah, and conjunction working together with the plasma, right? So what happens is that the water is that the plasma, yeah, the plasma is a grouping of magnetic fields. That grouping of magnetic fields, when it interacts with water, which is what is happening all around us, when it interacts with water, then the fields within the plasma, they perturbate ether, because they're at the fields of they're if you Chem Wheeler will tell you that the fields themselves, they're a field modality. They perturbate ether. That's what a field does, right? It perturbates ether, right? Now, my understanding of my science is in conjunction, is in alignment with that, because those fields, yeah, are a modality that's set up. And what the fields do is they perturbate ether. Simple, right? So when those fields, a grouping of those fields is the plasma. But the only plasma that we've really initially spoke about is the plasma that you see with electricity, with lightning. But the subtle forms of plasma, you cannot see it because it resides within the ether, which is not visible it's not visible to the objective light, which we're going to speak about. Right, I'm going to break all that down. Right, but it's only visible with this subjective light. Yeah. Which is on the path or walking towards illumination. What happens is those magnetic fields, which is what a group of plasma is, yeah, when we capture them, the gases hold on to them because they're all within the atmosphere, but in alignment with the amino acids. when you go up to a flower and you go, ah, it smells beautiful. That energy, what you received was the interaction of the plasma and the amino acids. So the amino acids reside within your eyes as well. And then when you see whatever you see out here in nature, and it makes you feel good, is because there's an interaction going on between your vessel and your amino acids that are in your eyes and the amino acids that are in the atmosphere. What I'm speaking about here is straight fact. So I'm going to show you. I'll show you it on the screen. The amino acids, when we use the magnetic field to capture the gases in the atmosphere, yeah, which is coming from here. The gases, they're coming from here because this combination here then, yeah. So when you have, so with the sun, we have the sun and the moon, right? Yeah, with the light, with this light that is coming in, yeah, and the interaction with the matter fields with the earth, yeah, the dielectric field, the dielectric plane, yeah, is then creating, yeah, the forces which drop down and generate the CONH, which is the carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, yeah, along with gold, which also comes from that light, yeah, and then the other metals as well, and those other metals are then in conjunction with the seven, right? They're in conjunction with the seven spirits of the throne, right? So, and the seven spirits of the throne, I'm going to do a different video coming up following this one next week, is to do with something else which is in alignment with our physical ascension, which is being caused by those spirits of the throne, but it's also being caused by the higher octaves above that as well, right? Which we use, which is coming from, which we can use with a Ptolemaic system that shows us. But then that Ptolemaic system is coming in from, yeah, and taken from the indigenous beings that were already a part of this land. They were already here, yeah. Also in conjunction with beings that were the gods, were connected to gods, which became fallen, right? So what happens is we capture these amino acids. You can't see them. You capture them. They're oily, and they sit on the surface. They sit on the surface of the waters. So those waters, is like I say, we collect like a salt waters. That salt water that we originally started this magnetic field with can generate energy itself, because we can punch light out of water, out of the still water, right? And then when we add particular salts to it, yeah, when we add, like, we're adding an aged urine to it, we would also be able to generate a light, which I'll show you.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes. any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
Video looks very similar to the fields that we create when we're capturing the nano gases. Does it that? And through that, light can be actually be generated through that energy, and therefore this means that you are holding on to light, projected light. So that field, when we have created that field, we can then pull these amino acids from out of the atmosphere, because they reside within the air. Like, you know, when it's hot and you're in the desert and you can see here, wandering like this, yeah. So then those amino acids sit on the top layer of that water, yeah. That's the first thing that starts to happen, and they're oily, like an oily substance. So now we know that urine is oily, and it is oily because of the amino acids that are within it, yeah. So a lysine, for example, like there's actually, I'm going to put it on the screen as well, because the guy come out and saying about the urine with the virus thing, saying that what it can do, which we already know, right? Great, but they're using that deliberately because that's how the movie mirror works. It takes everything that you do, what we are doing, and also we don't realise this, but we are a smaller minority, but we are also being focused upon, and that was why I released the age urine into that sphere, and they allowed it to take place just before this started, before the 2020 came about. Yeah, so it's the amino acids such as lysine, etc., which we already knew fight away these things, but then also because of the electric charge within it, and because of the way that it works in terms of its energy, yeah, it disrupts the electromagnetic frequency, the transverse electromagnetic frequency incoming. It disrupts that and looks to create and rebalance and reharmonize the physical vessel, because the amino acids, they have a left-hand spin, some of them, and they have a right-hand spin, right? But the amino acids, they hold this negative charge, right? They hold this negative charge, yeah. So when those amino acids spin towards that left, then they increase your life. If you go and look at the standard science, it will tell you amino acids, blah, 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 and they'll tell you that you can find them mostly in meat. That's what they're going to tell you, right? What they call the essential ones. So the essential ones, there's 9 of them, and then the non-essential ones is 11. So all, yeah, and even that, when they tell you that their science contains lies within it, but that's why it contains 9/11 within it, yeah, because they're trying to tell you that these ones are not vital, but they are. But then the arginine that is within it, this is what I'm going to show you now. The arginine within it, if you have a heart problem, vascular problem, you can overexert and have more arginine, and it will remove certain heart issues, towards any sort of disease within the body, certain types of vascular disease within the body, right? Now the arginine, yeah, increases the collagen. When one is getting old, they become wrinkly, and this, one of the main factors for that is because their collagen is becoming deficient. They are becoming deficient in these amino amino acids, AM, yeah, M, amino acids, or amino acid. They call it in the scientific world AA. What is AA? AA is master number 11, which is active principle. And what is AA? If I pull a pack of cards and we play poker and we put all this money on this, whatever on the side, all this money on the side and whatever, if I come up with double A, if I come up with double 1, you lose. I win every time. Because it's master number 11. Because the cards contain the book of life within them. And it's only when man falls, he chooses to use them for stupid things like games and stuff like that. Because he doesn't, we didn't realise that we can't see because we are blinded. We cannot see that we're in a fallen state. We cannot see that. So with the urine, it's oily, and the reason it's oily because amino acids themselves are oily. But what amino acids do is, especially arginine, is they're anti-aging. They're anti-aging. So that moves me then onto the veil of Isis. So then, which I'll put up on here. The veil of Isis is the wisdom mirror that I'm always speaking about. So what happens is the veil is then on her face like this, because he's hiding this the light, because and it was shown in the Bible as well. And so I think there's one chapter with Moses, and then he comes but the light is too, I'm gonna put it on the screen, right? The light was too bright for them. They couldn't stand the light, and the reason they couldn't stand this light is because it's a celestial light, yeah. And the reason that is because man, yeah. In John 3:19, it will tell you, right? And I will just read it. Yeah. It will say in here. It will say here, yeah. 3:19. I just add it up. Yeah, it's going to tell us. It will tell us that that man loves darkness. Light is within the world, right? Light is here, and it is within the world. But man chooses darkness over light. Yeah, yeah. And it's the same as the light shineth. Yeah, but darkness comprehend it not. Yeah, and this is the reason why. So it will say, John 3:19, and this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. Right. So the reason that they love that darkness over the light is because their deeds are evil. Right. And the reason that the deeds are evil, the reason that their deeds are evil, yeah, is because they walk in darkness, because they are not aware of knowledge of any kind, and because of that they do not recognize and realize that they have fallen into a lower state. They've fallen. So what I was saying, so with the veil of Isis, she's covering that light and letting one know also that those veils, that there are veils of illusion here. And man and woman walk around, and it will trick them into thinking that they are what they would like to call a good person, which is a dualistic modality of thought. Yeah, right. They would think that. But if I was to take away all of the things that they have, here is look. This is just beautiful nature, right? And that's why I'm doing it. Walk. I'm talking about water. If I was to take away some of the bare necessities and some of the things, the comforts, then you will see an animalistic nature come flying straight to the forefront of most of the beings that you see walking around in the street. Yeah. So that is the veil that is being covered up from them. Yeah. So then they become attached to this place, right? And when most beings leave here, yeah, imagine what they're thinking about. Oh no, I can't believe I've had to leave all my house and all my stuff. Oh God, no. Yeah, they're thinking things like that. Right, thinking things like that. And that is because when man recognizes the core of what true knowledge is, he recognizes and he realizes that he's a fallen being. Yeah, call it a fallen bodhisattva. Yeah, connected to the fallen bodhisattva, which is the gods, because they fell. Yeah, and man and woman recognize that they have the knowledge realizes to them that they are here in a fallen state. Over the back of them, which I've put on before, you see that image I might put it up, I can find it, with Sophia, and there's like a demon behind him. It's not like a demon, it's like a wolf man. So like a Jekyll and Hyde. And then when we become conscious of what we truly are, or we become conscious of the reflection, become conscious of this light, this luciferic light, yeah, then we realize sometimes you go, whoa, what's that behind you? That's you, right? The things that you do, you go, whoa, this is what I was talking about when I was talking about riding the goat. Yeah, you go back and ejaculate and you watch some nasty stuff or something, and once you are on that frequency I was speaking about earlier, and you know, find out exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, you'll scare yourself potentially, and it could really knock you straight off that goat and straight into the lap of Belial and Baal. So water, when one, and I've experienced this especially recently as well, when we are operating in this still manner, and one is not ejaculating, it is called in alchemy, right? It is called the receptacle and furnace. If you ever look at alchemy, things to do with alchemy, the old alchemists, you'll think, wait, he's talking about alchemists, but then these guys, Paracelsus, and they look like old scientist men knocking around with all these like tools and biological glasses and Bunsen burners and all that sort of stuff, right? The receptacle and furnace is and the reason they did that is because man and woman cannot handle, yes, the subjective light, because they can only deal with the subjective light, which we're going to speak about, right? And so they would put it out because the receptacle and furnace is the penis and the vagina, and the receptacle goes into the receptacle is the phallic. Receptacle is the phallic. So its corona goes into the furnace. The furnace is the vagina. When man learns to recognize, and this can only happen when the waters, I was talking about this frequency, right? When one is operating with your magnetism as a magnetician, right? And you operate with this negative magnetism. The negative magnetism are two ends of the same pole. There is no duality, right? Because they lead to the same center point, right? So when one operates with that stillness, then, because the reason I'm teaching this now is because for some reason several years ago I noticed it was the thing called semen retention came through. Look at this, it's amazing. Coming from the occult world, to see in a sort of esoteric health scenario where people start to say, yeah, semen retention, it's massive. When I ejaculate, it's like a period. It mashes your mind up, everything, blah blah blah. It's not that it's doing that to you. The reason that is happening is because that's what that is. Again, you've unveiled the darkness that exists within matter, yeah, which we're going to speak about, which is the Klepoth, right? So that what it is this: when your waters, the waters within you, the magnetic fields within you, they will repel a different energy, a different light, yeah. And that is also then why you know when you drink your urines, yeah, for example, things like this, or you are fasting, which we're going to get to when you get to the hydrated state, your body will recognize the communication takes place, because it's called mem, which is 13, which is in your waters, which is here, right? It's there, look, right? See this here, right? It could be, I could have done this better than this, but it will do, because I'm going to put them all on the board anyway, right? Which is this is here. This is mem, right? This is mem. I did this before. This is mem. This is shin, and this is aleph. Water, fire, air, right? Now, what actually happens is this. When the mind, so what I was just saying actually before I continue is that then the waters within you recognize that state, and they will lead you towards the consumption of things that continue that balance, which is a liberty, which is liberation that is coming from the balancing of the bowels and jacking, which is your kidneys as well, yeah, in your Libra here, which is what's happening, right? So the receptacle and the furnace, so then the mind the mind now, because you've not been ejaculating, right? Because you have not been spilling of the light, yeah? And I've seen a few things recently where people were saying, someone was saying that, oh, you can do it a little bit. I'm sorry, no, you can't. But then we are not in dualism, so therefore we do not judge one for doing so. And providing you are on the path of growth, then you could, you know what I mean? But you will, as you continue, you will learn through the suffering, and then you will grow, and then you will access because there's so many layers. Someone asked me the other day, they were saying they were doing semen retention, and I was doing this video, so I didn't want to say too much to them. That yeah, that was the base level of it. These other levels I'm going to speak to you about right now. So then, when you recognize, now the mind now recognizes, because you're operating on this faster frequency now, the mind now recognizes and knows, and this can only be taught to you because it's hidden in deep occult circles anyway. Is that the furnace is a portal. The one uses this mem here. You use it, and then in conjunction with aleph, right, which is coming from the air, right. And then what happens is the receptacle, the phallic goes into there before any orgasm takes place. You hold on to this energy, but it's subtle. Why? How do you know it's subtle now? Because you are already, as an initiate, beginning to embark and work with subtlety, with the subtle planes, right? So it is subtle now, right? And also, on the astral, like even today, I'm able to, so I don't forget where I am. Yeah, it is that my true self, on the astral, yeah, jumps into this lower vessel and vehicle, right? And then, but then shows this the physical body, which is the devil, by the way, which is what I call the devil, you, right? Shows. But if I don't recognize that I am the devil, then therefore I cannot overcome it, because I'm going to think everybody else is, not me. Shadow work. So I'm then able, yeah, right. From at that point, I am actually able, right, to then my true self, right, then shows the vessel and vehicle that you are walking. He puts its heart energy into this vessel here, in that moment, right, on the astral, in conjunction with the physical, with the physical plane and the etheric body, right? Because it was initiated by the causal body, which is the willpower to make that happen. So then, what actually happens at that point is it then would show me that what I am feeling, that total samadhi, ecstasy, and bliss, which that plasma feeling, that energy that is incoming, we can only the real being can get it, yeah. Which you can either do now, or you're going to learn to, or it's going to come to you before you leave this place with this particular lifetime, providing that you can continue on the path of the work, yeah. And my mission here is to tell you this. It's the part of that, whilst not getting caught up in attachment, which is going to keep me bound here, right? So then that force. That force is within the lower vessel, but it's coming from the true self, and that true self is stating what you can feel right now is the energy from your home. You are walking in my shoes, because I am you and you are thee. You are me, and we are one, yeah. And therefore, I am your greatest salvation. So there is nothing else for you to ever have to worry about, because I am in pure immortal light. And I play these games and do these worlds all the time. So therefore, you circle your square with immortal light, with your light that comes from your mother, yeah, which is again Sophia, who is then holding on to that light, which is this subjective white light, which is too bright for mere mortals who are dancing on a checkerboard floor, bouncing between good, bad, and right and wrong. Today I'm going to be I think that I'm a nice person, and tomorrow I'm going to be doing but really they are never actually really focusing upon the self, which within the self resides the intimus within that self. So the receptacle and furnace, when one comes to those stages, the reason I mention that is because if you become an adept on the astral plane, then you can recognize this for what it is. The receptacle goes into the furnace, and before an orgasm takes place, the heat, which is this positive force, which will eat you up if you cannot control it. It's a red dragon, right? This positive force, is then pulled upwards, and this teaching is within the Tor, which is the Storus, which is the 20, which is within the last letter, which is the 22. And who is the 22? Which is our mother. And who is she? She's the serpent that resides within, which is the Ida, which is going to coming straight up, back towards the heaven, so that you can become your supreme being. So then, what happens is, before that orgasm takes place, we're coaxing this flame, we're coaxing this fire. This takes great practice. And then when you come up, you take that sexual force and hold it into the one, which is the solar plexus. At that point, then with this force, then you can ignite the other meridians, and then the experience. One of the experiences that I've had right in that moment in front of that womb, it now doesn't become your partner or your girlfriend. It becomes, this is what I'm talking about, it becomes the womb of the mother. Why would that be? Because one vagina is different to another. Is it really that different to another, really? It's still a vagina, it's still a phallic. These are forces. So then what we are doing now is raising that energy upwards, and then it will come up the back here, comes up the back of the spine, right? And then what can happen is it comes outwards, and then on the astral, boom, 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 wings can appear, and then what happens is then you go backwards, and then the true being comes to the forefront. It says, "Here I am, winged, immortal being, supreme being." How do I know this? Because I've done it and experienced it. And then we can look to create from that point. I have seen and have done that. Until we can get to the point where we are etherically and astral, we're working on the ether properly and the astral, and we have worked on the physicality, on the matter plane, to incorporate all the forces of what we are, and we can speak about these things, the astral work and everything, as it's clear as day. Then we will not be able to progress from these stages, will we? Because we will still be hypnotized, thinking that all things are of this lesser light, this light that I'm looking at here right now. And from that point there, before any orgasm takes place, then a supreme being can materialize right in front of your face, and that is what is being hidden. So what is actually happening with man and woman? Is that we can do all of this, what you see people doing now. Like the people saying, "Oh yeah, but we're going to take them over because they're stuck in dualism still." That's why they think going, "Oh yeah, and we're seeing it now, and people are starting to wake up. They're starting to get it. They're going to get it. Blah blah blah." But guess what? Every one of them is a stealer in the night. Every one of them is a thief. You're a thief, because we are the thief. We are the ones. We are a thief. They are stealing the celestial light of the supreme Godhead. We will call it God. How are they stealing it? They are stealing it through because they refuse to not even just hold on to this, but they don't know how to transform that sexual force and to allow the true supreme being to enter, being guided by our mother. She guides us with a candle on that through that darkness, and she enables the true supreme self to come through in physicality in front of that womb, right in front of that womb. once you have used that furnace as the masculine to generate that heat, yeah. And this is why, if you they used to have all these orgies and stuff like that, see, things was a lot more free because of the dualism. We're trapping and holding ourselves back, and you will find it, and they have all these orgies and stuff, all of the men, they'll be already on the floor because they already ejaculated all quickly, but the women, they could continue. Why can they continue? Because they are holding on to a superior sexual force, yeah. Which is why when the woman does that, yeah, they will then guide the man, because this man, he's here, he's ejaculated in a couple of minutes, and now his hair's falling out. His hair's falling out. I will say to you, over the last so many years, because of the urine, my hair should be gone. If I showed you the pictures of my hair years ago, about 4 years ago, there was a big patch coming here, right? And now, because I don't ejaculate, yeah, and the work that I've done to make that not happen, right? And all of the other work, especially with the plasma, and I'll show you some other things that the plasmas enable me to perform acts of blatant magic in this place, right? My hair is growing. It's growing. Strange. It's growing. It's not, look, it used to be a hole here. It's growing. But if I ejaculate, then I will have a big hole in the middle of my head, right? That is a fact. That is stone cold fact. And also, it's within the urine, so more people probably will start to drink the urine because the urine is full of these amino acids. If you go and research, we're talking about what these amino acids will do, you'll be absolutely amazed and shocked and surprised. That I was talking about the taurines and all those things before. So that's why now we're just going to just touch on that on this on the board. Look at hydrate. Hydrated is 4 and hydrate is 9. Once you create that clear state with those waters, with your waters, even the beings here, where they don't do urine, you might even do urine, doesn't matter, because if you get into that clear hydrated state, all of a sudden you'll feel happy, you'll feel this extra burst of life. That is the base level of it. There's still another 8 levels to go, because there's 9 levels to everything, right? So that hydrated state is because you've created homeostasis, and then so the body creates a reward system, because in the brain is a reward system, and then you are rewarded. Through the hydrated state, you are rewarded with this clear urine. If you drink it, it contains an etheric plasmatic charge within it. It contains that, yeah. Like, I got about 20 different plasmas. If you were with me and I gave them to you, your etheric body will come straight out into the physical, yeah. And it can be almost frightening because you're not used to it, yeah. So sometimes I had to readjust the atmosphere here. The field combination is different, and that's why we have to travel as nomads. And that's why here the name Nome is name, which is nomad, right, which is what we are. Is nomad. So here, so that's why it's telling you there, hydrate is 9 and hydrated is 4. And why is hydrate 9? Because this is the tree of life. So this is the Kabbalistic tree of life. This one here is Hebrew. It's not Lurianic, right? Because there's 2, yeah. But even still, regardless of that, right? So like I was saying earlier, yeah. Here we have Aleph, Shin, and Mem, right? Now check this out. I was always saying about one, yeah, is spirit. So they're numbered. This is the crown here. So this is the crown, which is Keter there, yeah? So we've got Keter there as the crown. So we've got Keter, Bina, Chokma, yeah? So we've got Gebarah, Chesed, Tifadeth, yeah? Hod, yeah? Netzach, Yesod, and Malkuth. Right. Now, each one of these Sephiroths is an emanation of the God Force. Right. But this one here, Keter, is the crown. And with that crown, sometimes they call that crown as the Father, because the phallic is the crown, and round that crown is a corona, and that's what this is here. And it's coming from this limitless Ein Sof all light. Yeah. Ein Sof all light. Yeah. But then that white light gets passed down here to wisdom, which is Chokma, right, which is here, right, and it comes through like this, boof, and this light comes down, and it continues, right. So what I was talking about, this here, see these cosmologies, these things here, right? These things here hide the truth straight away. So right down up here, Keter, yeah, is connected to limitless supreme light, yeah, up in the heavens, right, in the heavenly planes, right, is the beginning of us falling, of us manifestation of this Luciferic fall all the way down here, or Sophianic fall all the way down here, yeah, into this where it says 10, which is where it says 10. So 10, yeah, which we could call that 1 plus 0, which could give us, which together combined can give us perfection, which is why you can call it 10, Zen. But then 0 and 1, which we could call it the receptacle and the furnace. Syncretism, we could then say that is not in Geb, could we not? Yes, we can. Which we could then say is that the dielectric plane, the Earth plane sphere, electromagnetic is a byproduct of 2 masculine and feminine forces, right? And the feminine force is deliberately suppressed. It's suppressed because of this, and they'll tell you why that is. So here you got Keter here, right? So then, as I was saying, so then this we have wisdom, right? We have wisdom and intelligence. So this light comes, and the first thing that this light is born, there's a triad here, and I'm going to put on the screen here because I use the Pythagorean numerology, right? And Pythagoras also had a tetrastes, right? Now in that, which I'll put on the screen, they're using the 10 tetrao in here, right? But the Hebrew letters that are in there, all of them add up together to 27, which is going to give you the 9 here, right? So the Earth plane is this one here, physicality there, which I've written on the board for you anyway, so that you can see it there, number 10, which is the Earth plane, right? Now the Earth plane is connected to this 9th sphere. Remember, I was doing a couple of videos called the 9th sphere, which is your sex, which is your mother, which is the moon, because we're using again the Ptolemaic system, which is taken from the indigenous original cosmologies. Yeah, might even be in the Hopi. I won't say that as concrete, but it is like that. But it is like that, right? So the Earth plane here is connected to the 9th sphere here, which is the 9th, which is Mem, which is MEM, which is 13. You can't listen. This magic. You can't get away from it, and it's divinely working in perfect harmony, and it's a perfect harmonious truth that is being given to us, right? So you have 10, right, and then you have the 9th sphere, right? Now that 9th sphere is the foundation here, but it's also the moon. So the 9th on the 9th sphere, it's the etheric body, which is the etheric body. But the 9, and it's in the center of the Earth here. So it's water. So this magnetic field, like so you see, like, which is creating like a flower of life, and the flower of life, I think it's 61 circles, which takes us back to the 7, which mother is 7, which is Earth, which is what you would get. This would be like this here, it would be like, if we put it this way, would be a flower of life. You would get like a flower of life from this, because this is the Earth plane. This is here. This is where you are. This is a toroidal field. They give it to babies. Yeah. Only really intelligent mind recognizes that, right? So that flower of life. So in that center, in the center of this here, would be like, beam me up, Scotty, which would take us to other worlds, to other planes. But it would happen through waters, which is why at the center of the Earth is the 9th sphere, which is water, which is Mem, right? So, and then it then spreads outwards from that water, which is, we have Hod here, and then we have Netzach here, right? So we have splendor there, and then you have victory on the other side, which is the 7, right? So then that was where the Hydra was defeated. The Hydra was defeated, yeah? It represents by Hercules, which is victory. But then Hercules was, and the Hydra is a serpent in water. And we're saying about water here earlier, the serpent in water, right? And the Hydra was defeated by Hercules, but then Hercules was killed by with the Hydra's blood, because he was through infidelity, like infidelity, cheating on his partner. So she poisoned him and killed Hercules with the same blood of the Hydra. And that is telling you how everything is all interconnected and intertwined, and the cause and effect responses, they ripple on from one lifetime to the next. And it's usually coming from the byproduct of our sex, because man and woman sees each other in a lustful sexual manner because of the way in which that we conduct our sex, because we have no knowing. That knowing comes from this here, where it says 11. That 11, this 11 here, is Da'at, which is the hidden Sephiroth, right? So you got, remember I was talking about the 11 earlier? So you got 10 here, and then Da'at is the 11th, the hidden one. That gives you master number 11. But then you've got 22 paths here. That now gives you 22. How paths is the 22? And those 22 paths is the Hebrew letters. If you put the 11 and the 22 together, that's going to give you 33, which is going to give you perfection. Again, balance, which is going to give you this middle, narrow, balanced path. 11 on one, and 22 on the other. 11 masculine and 22 feminine. Yeah, the two of them combined is going to give you the androgynous being. So then you could have a Baphomet, which is up and down like this. This up and down is a byproduct that comes from this Da'at here. Because what happened is, what the Kabbalists found, what the magicians found and the occultists found, is that through this Da'at, which is knowledge, it was a portal that led them to finding out about the underworld. Because knowledge leads to then finding out about the darker side of the human psyche, yeah, which has to be mastered. And what's that darker side? The first thing that you bump into is Lilith, which is Jezebel, which is why the man and woman, this is the fall of Adam and Eve, which is why the man and woman contain 97% Jezebel energy, which is JE, which is jealousy. When they are not working upon the shadow side of the psyche, the shadow side of the self, which is the Klepoth, yeah, and in there contains Belial, and Belial, which I was telling you, is the spirit of lies, yeah, which is what gets worked with. And because we don't recognize Belial, then we also fall under, we have diminished self-worth, and then we see ourselves as lesser than what we are, subconsciously, and then that manifests itself into the physical reality. And then this is when beings become slaves, or we think it's acceptable to have people who have no food, who are on the street with nothing. We feel that is acceptable because of our own lack of self-worth, becoming from Belial, which I put on the board, which is in these lower Sephiroth here, this lower 10, yeah, this lower 10, right? So then that's what gives us this perception of the dualism, which is the shadow, which is coming from this lower 10 Sephiroth here, yeah. And those lower 10 Sephiroth can only be recognized, the fallen aspects of man and woman, through the Da'at, which is the D again, which is the 4, which is knowledge, which is knowledge, yeah, in conjunction with intelligence here, and wisdom, which creates this triad here, yeah. And then you have, and then that then falls down. This intelligence and wisdom, this intelligence and wisdom, yeah, is illuminated by this light here, by this beauty. It's illuminated by beauty. When one sees beauty, then one can start to become intelligent with transcendental intelligence by having the sight of beauty, by being able to see others in the beauty, being able to see the beauty in others, yeah. But one can only see the beauty in others by recognizing the downfalls within the self. See, so then this is Tithareth here, which is the sun, the 6 here, yeah. And that Tifereth then it illuminates and gives us this subjective light, which can only come by one looking internally, meditation, and so on and so forth, and introspection, and looking at the self. And then the subjective light becomes available to us, and then this is when we become illuminati, which is illuminated through this subjective light. But the lower, this lower, there's a lower hexad here, this lower 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah? This lower hexad contains objective light, which is what man and woman see, which is this daylight sunlight, which is operated by the carnal mind, and that's why they cannot see the loving expression that we put out in many ways. And this is why they cannot see the evils that are in the world, because they are only able to recognize the objective daylight. They're not able to see this subjective sunlight. And that is why Isis is veiled, because like it will tell you in the Bible, when Moses brought the light to them, when they see this light, they had to cover their eyes, because the light was blinding them, because the light was too bright for them, because the light was too pure for them, because they hadn't done no work upon themselves and upon themselves. Yeah. So here you have this higher triad, and then there's another middle triad here, and that's why in the center here, yeah, we have justice. So we have love and justice. That's why love is in the blue. Yeah, this is the actual how it is. And that's why love is in the blue and justice is in the red. Yeah, right. And you could have Mars and Jupiter in there. Yeah, but we can only have the correct justice. We can only see balanced justice when we've harmonized that with love. So and those two have to be connected to beauty in order for there to be harmony. And this is the law of God, the Godhead law. This is God's law. This is that law, right? So all of these have to be accessed. But when man is all the way down here on the physical plane, yeah. And if he doesn't access correctly through the waters, this is why they baptize. This is why they do the baptism with the waters. Because in the Bible, which I'll put on there again, they were saying that it went to there was these baths. I think there was these baths in Jerusalem, and the people there were blind; they couldn't see anything, right? And they used to go into these pools, and when they used to go into these pools of water, they would become healed again by this water. And what they've said is it's because it was the ray of Tifereth that was within that water enabled that to happen, and Christ didn't deny it. He didn't deny it. And also this 7 as well. I think it was the 7 seals. There was a 7, right? The 7 causes, 7 things that happen from the gods. And on the third, and that's why I'm going to put the tetraces on the board, because the tetraces gives you 10 notches, 10 notches, which is the 1, yeah, which is the 7 and the 3, which is the prime number. And on the third, there was a star called wormwood that falls from the heavens into the waters, and that star made men bitter. Men that became bitter through those waters, because their waters became bitter because of the way that they interact with matter, right? So I wanted to explain some of this, because this is the reasons why when you see the things that we see happening, it is not just as simple as we have to take over some government. No, we have to teach beings the truth about what they really truly are as a fallen being, because it was only the angels where their force is that sexual force is going upwards. The demons and man and woman is a two-way street. We have energy going upwards towards the heavens and energy going downwards towards the demons, towards the demons and the gnomes, right? And that's why we have to learn to harmonize and be able to work with the forces within us, so that we can become like the angels and rise that force upwards, which is why they call this Jacob's ladder, right? So just to finish that off, so that is why Father 1, Mother 2, but that doesn't mean that it's that way around. And then Spirit is intelligence. 4, which is the intimus, which is love, which is the higher octave of spirit. 5 is the divine soul, which is this one here, which is justice. Yeah. 6 is the human soul, which is the light of the sun. Yeah. And 7 is Netzach, which is the mental body. The mental body, which is the 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mental body. Yeah. Right. And then 8 the heart, splendor, which is the astral body, yeah, and then 9, which is our sex, which is our etheric body. So that's why I was teaching that about that heavily adept secret is that that's what happens with the receptacle in the furnace, is that you become active, your etheric body becomes activated, and the angelic being that is the true governor of your physicality becomes manifest in the physical when that work is embarked upon correctly. And then going forward, man becomes able to look at woman in a risen fashion. He looks at her in a virtuous fashion, recognizing that she is the portal towards the heavens. 10 is the physical body, yeah, which is the base point and has to be mastered. So just wanted to do that one, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace, love, and centeredness.
Into our customs, explaining our history to them, and teaching them to respect the traditional laws. Our people, our culture, are the oldest in the world. We were already here thousands of years ago. We were around at the same time as what the white men called Homo sapiens. In these caves and caverns, we can feel the influence of the spirits of our ancestors. If you sleep here, you can see them in your dreams and receive their messages. They come and fill you with their strength, and when you wake, you feel very good. These are sacred places for us. In the past, people lived in caves and natural shelters like these. Across all our territory, you can find paintings made by our forefathers in which speak of the dream time, the creation, and how they lived 50,000 years ago. In the Kakadu National Park lies Ubirok, where the rainbow serpent stopped after creating the world and was painted on a rock so that people could see her.